Hello again, guys, it's Kevin from Rage Against the Dice here, once again talking about Red Beam Designs. Now I know what you guys are thinking, but Red Beam Designs has closed down now. They're finishing up the last of their products and they're kind of getting ready to wind things down. However, as you can see on the screen, there has been a very recent development. As of around about 3 or 4 hours ago, Warcradle Studios, part of Wayland Games, put this on their website. And on their Facebook page and everywhere apparently where you can put it, which is Wayland Games are pleased to announce that they have acquired Red Beam Designs as part of the product range for Warcradle Studios. So that's really cool. It does appear that Graham has managed to find somebody who's interested in the IP, in what Red Beam Designs has previously created, etc. And that being Wayland Games and Warcradle Studios. Now, Warcradle Studios are sort of like TTCombat in terms of they're known for buying up properties and doing stuff with them. Warcradle recently snatched up Dystopian Wars from Spartan Games, and they also snatched up Wild West Exodus. And I can see them doing more, much like TTCombat snatched up Relics, Drop Zone, Carnival, as well as doing their own games in like Rumbleslam and such. Or at least I think Carnival was somebody else's first. If I'm wrong, I apologise on that, but a citation needed, as it were. Now, I was going to read out the rest of this and let you guys all know exactly what's happening with it. However, I've got something much better in mind for you guys. I actually managed to sit down for a Skype interview with Graham from Red Beam Designs, where we went through Red Beam Designs, how he got started, what's happening, Warcradle, and kind of where he sits now. And that's coming up next. So obviously, I hope you guys will take the time to listen to it. It was a thoroughly enjoyable chat with Graham. Both of us are coming off being ill. I'm pretty sure he had pneumonia, and I had what the missus is calling a severe case of man flu, but it wasn't. It was that stomach bug that's going around. You know, it's like a fountain from all ends. It's disgusting. That's the kind of image I'm going to leave you on before I take you across to this interview. So guys, enjoy what Graham has to say. As always, give us a like and a subscribe. Stick around at the end and I'll give you a little bit of a refresher on the competition we've got going on at the moment. But other than that, hopefully you enjoy what Graham's got to say. Thank you very much, guys, and enjoy. Nice. Right. Anyway, so as I was saying, I always start off any interview I do with a very basic question, which is, how did you get into the hobby and kind of what age were you?
So I got into the hobby, I suppose initially, I can't think what age it would have been exactly, but Hero Quest was probably my first introduction.
Exact same way I got into it, so you're looking early 90s.
Yeah, it must have been, I would say maybe 91, maybe something like that.
It's got to have been, yeah, because I got into the hobby properly in 93, and I remember I had Hero Quest and Space Crusade for a while before that.
So I played games like that a little bit, dabbled a little bit with 40k and fantasy, didn't really take those too far because I was sort of 12 or 13.
Yeah.
Throwing paint on models for fun. Then I played quite a lot of Necromunda when that first came out, but then at that point I was sort of just discovering beer and women, I guess, really, to be perfectly honest, and lost interest in the hobby for a few years. By a few years, I would say it was probably about 13, I think. And then 6-7 years ago now, just decided to take it up again, basically, and joined my local club, which is York Garrison Wargaming Club, and I've never looked back, really.
Nice. Was it Games Workshop again that you kind of got into initially, or was it one of the one of the other companies?
Definitely Games Workshop initially, and in the early days I wasn't really aware there even was much else out there, to be honest.
I think that's the thing, and obviously you're of at least a similar age to me, and I have this with a lot of people, especially when I chat to anyone of a younger disposition, who obviously they've got access to the internet and stuff like that. and they find it mind-boggling that like the only people I talked to about the hobby were when I went to Games Workshop. Whereas now, obviously, you chat to people on a daily basis about painting techniques and stuff like that. Like White Dwarf was an essential.
It was good as well then, though.
It absolutely was.
I bought it a few times over the last 5 years or so, and I mean, to be honest, I haven't bought it in at least a year, but it was just trash every time.
No, I worked for Games Workshop, so I had used to get it for free every month. But I would have stopped reading it about 4 years earlier had I not, because it was just utter garbage. It basically became one big terrible advert.
Yeah.
They took all the hobby aspect of it out completely.
Yeah, definitely.
And so what brought you on to going from, like myself, being a hobbyist to suddenly making sort of, I think was it scenery first or was it the tokens first?
Probably a bit of both originally, actually. I can't honestly remember what we launched with exactly, but at the time when we did launch, the main game I was playing was the Marvel Miniatures game by Night Models, which I know is one that you've voiced your comments on once or twice before.
Oh, I loved that game so much as well.
It was such good fun.
It was so good, and the models were nice, and obviously they had the same issues that Night Models always have with not sculpting, it's the actual making of the models.
Yeah, definitely. I'll not comment too much on that company you just mentioned there, because I don't think I'm their favourite person.
Absolutely not. I don't think I'm their biggest fan anyway. But that's what our channel started as. It was going to be. We were going to launch about 4 months earlier.
Right.
And then we heard rumblings about what was happening with the Marvel license, so we put it off. But that's why our very early videos were basically geared up towards saying, look, we're going to be covering this game. So that was a bit of a kick in the teeth for us.
Yeah, well, that was definitely what I was playing when we were initially launching Red Beam, but it came about because my wife was just being made redundant from a job at the time. We'd kind of both talked quite a few times about wanting to start up a business. We weren't really too sure what we were going to do there. And we had this little pot of cash from her redundancy and thought we'd give it a whirl, basically. Originally the plan wasn't really for Red Beam Designs to be anything other than a little part-time hobby for me, really, and the main business was supposed to be something else, which was my wife doing more like jewellery and Christmas crafts and things like that with the laser cutter.
Oh, right, so something like a kind of like an Etsy store or like an eBay type of thing.
Exactly that, and for the first few months that was how it worked out. Really, I just did a few little bits and pieces, and it was her side of things that were doing okay. And then it just, once we started working on the Batman Miniatures game, things just totally changed, basically, and suddenly Red Beam became the main focus, and then just more and more so as it went on, and the other business just died a death in the background, really, because we didn't spend any time on it at all, because we were spending every spare minute on Red Beam. Yeah,
I mean, I found out through one of my friends who, again, he massively into the Batman game. His YouTube channel almost exclusively covers that. And I used to deal with counterattack bases quite a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And I was finding that, I don't know whether it was because they were getting busier or because they were getting sloppier, but I was finding that if I ordered something, I wasn't getting it as quickly.
Right.
And I'm massively impatient. Like, exactly beyond words. So I was just whinging, as I do sometimes. And my mate was like, have you tried these? And that was where I sort of put my first order through. And it was just tokens and stuff, and then I absolutely fell in love with the dashboard, the Walking Dead one specifically.
Thank you, that's one of my favourites as well, actually.
It's so good because that game's so annoying in terms of, like, it's so innovative the way the cards are, the way you lay them out and things like that, but the second you get a toddler knock that table, you spend forever going under. So he had that hat, and whereas that dashboard, my son picks it up and I can just give him the stern look and he ignores it, and then I take it off him anyway. But
so I probably became aware of you at about exactly the same time, actually, coincidentally, because I was just starting to play The Walking Dead at the time, and I found you guys and your videos on YouTube, although I don't think we actually spoke for quite a long time after that.
No, I think it actually first came about because I did I'd got a set of the dashboards earlier, Or to be fair, Alan, the other guy who does the gaming with me, he'd ordered some. And we'd kind of not done anything with them because I wanted to paint them up and stuff, and they kind of got stuck in a queue. As you'll probably know something about, always a project waiting to be done. And then just one of those things where you forget you have some, so I ordered some more. And then when they came, I was like, do you mind if we do an unboxing video? Because normally I wouldn't even think twice about it. But we sometimes get companies messaging us like, oh, you didn't ask if you could do this video. So that's why we were like, can we do it?
I don't think we'd have ever minded if someone hadn't asked, but most people did, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's nice. I always found it quite a surreal experience, to be honest, just actually seeing someone reviewing my product.
Yeah.
It was just, certainly in the early days as well, I was so nervous about it, and then just found it quite odd that somebody would actually want to review something like that.
Yeah, it's a sort of testament to your company, really, that I don't think I've ever seen a bad review on any of your products.
Touch wood, I don't think there is one, actually. I'm hoping not.
Yeah, if it has, it hasn't been sent to you directly, at least.
Yeah, I've certainly not witnessed one.
Yeah.
Maybe one out there. There's quite a lot out there, to be fair, which has been lovely.
No, you see, that was one of the things, as soon as I said, my friend told me about it, the first thing you do with anything now, isn't it? You go on YouTube. And you look it up, and that was such a good thing. It's like, oh, there's no bad reviews so far. It definitely worth investing a little bit in.
YouTube's been a great vehicle for us, really.
So in terms of obviously where we're at now, you ended up getting to a point where you've had to close your doors.
Yes.
How much do you... we've spoke about it privately, so I know bits and pieces of what you've said. How much of it do you want to talk about? How much are you comfortable talking about?
I'll talk about any of it. As far as I'm concerned, it's all out there, really. I've not shirked away or hidden from any of it, really, at all. So, yeah, we'll talk about anything.
That's perfect. So, at what point did you realise that it actually become the point where you couldn't continue on? How long before you actually made the announcement, or was it a very sort of straight after kind of thing?
So, about Christmas time, we were really struggling. Kirsty was... So, Red Beam Designs, myself, Graham, and my wife, Kirsty.
Of course.
It was a full-time job for Kirsty. I have a full-time job as well as Red Beam Designs, and just fitted it in what little spare time I had, basically. So Christmas, in the build-up to Christmas, was when it really hit home that just how popular we'd become, because Kirsty was seriously struggling to keep up with the orders around that time. But then that all sort of died off, and then sort of over the Christmas holiday, well, not that we got much of a holiday because we were working virtually every single day, we sort of talked then about we'd like her to she'd like to go and get a different job, basically. We were looking more of giving it another year or so, really, to see how it went.
Yeah.
And so we thought, come 2018, 2019, we'll look at maybe seeing if we'll close it. So we carried on for a couple of months, and then excuse me, let me just have a quick sip of water. And then literally we were just walking around York one Saturday morning a few weeks ago, and we were just talking over a lot of things. My main job was starting to suffer very slightly due to the lack of attention that I'd possibly been paying to it, because I was spending out so much of my spare time on Red Beam. And we just talked about how much we were both struggling with it all, really. Kirsty was finding it very hard going, basically having to cope with all the orders on her own. I was finding it very hard going, having to every single night and every single day of the weekend just work constantly. It just literally, so we woke up one morning with no intention of closing it whatsoever, and a few hours later, after a bit of a walk and a wander around together, we decided we were closing it in just a few weeks' time, basically. It was very, very quick how it came about.
Yeah, because you and I, before you'd made that announcement, around about a week or so earlier, we'd actually been having a conversation about some new designs you were doing, some of the vehicles and things.
I remember that.
Yeah, because I was going to do some, obviously product releases and stuff, because that's something I do. and we were kind of discussing it, and then sort of, so maybe 2 weeks later, like you go, oh no, nothing's happening anymore. And obviously, from my point of view, I didn't mind. For me, it's it's video content, but I can get other video content. But I as somebody who likes your products, you'll have known from the video you've watched previously. I was a bit sort of devastated from that point of view. Probably not as much as you were.
Well, I'll be honest, it was your video that probably hit home for most, for both of us actually, because you put out that video that night when we'd announced it, and we both got quite emotional over that. I'll quite openly say, that was where we kind of really hit home what we just announced to everybody, because we were just getting bombarded with messages as well, all lovely messages and things, but it went from us just having a conversation to wow, it's out there on YouTube now with people talking about it.
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
I mean, it was something I wanted to do, and as I recall, I checked with yourself. It was okay to put the video up before I did,
Yes.
because I'm aware of privacy and stuff like that. I'm very open for the most part, and I know from chatting to you, you are as well. But after making a big announcement like that, I wanted to make sure that it's okay. I put a video up and let maybe people who didn't know. And I mean, if it even drove a little bit extra business your way towards the end, then that's a good thing.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, we had our best month by a long way. Was our last month was our best. Obviously, with people trying to get orders in before we went and things, it was lovely to see and the support we got. But it was never we didn't close because of the money. It was plain and simple, really. I couldn't do 2 full-time jobs anymore. It was just too much.
From sort of looking at it, and I don't know if you completely agree, but it does kind of feel like you were a victim of your own success.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, you got too big to manage the two of you, but not big enough that you could employ somebody else.
Exactly.
To maybe step in, yeah.
We only had 2 cutters as well, and that was starting to be a major bottleneck for us as well. What we really needed was a decent investment of cash to expand the business and take on the employee, and we were just nowhere near wanting to do that or had any money to do that.
Of course. In terms of, obviously, like you said, it was not having the money to do, which you could have gone via other means, such as Kickstarters and things, but there was also that I don't want to do it full time.
Well, it was always my hope that I'd get to do it full time, but it was a long way from being able to replace my salary, to be honest, and my salary is the one that pays our mortgage.
Of course, yeah. So it wasn't a case that you were bored of it or anything like that. Kind of, I didn't want to do it. It was you couldn't make enough from that.
Yes.
In the interim while you grew it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly honest as well and say that our marriage suffered an awful lot this last 18 months as well, and that had a huge factor on it. It was just I disappeared for a year and a half basically. I've spent a year and a half stuck in my office or out in the workshop cutting stuff, but we haven't really seen each other. We've also got a young daughter as well who would start complaining that Daddy was working all the time, and things like that they hit home and they make reassess things.
Though I mean, definitely go. One thing that I was really lucky at with when my son was born was I kind of got made redundant at the same time. And though that should be a bad thing, it was almost a blessing in disguise because I had basically 12 months with him. So I can imagine how much it must have really hurt to sort of hear that, Daddy's always working all the time.
Oh, it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. But that's been addressed now, and that's been probably the single biggest change so far. Really is. So these last few weeks, Kirsty has still worked extremely hard because obviously she's been dealing with this huge backlog of orders.
Of course, yeah.
I've spent more time with my daughter these last few weeks than I have done in the last year, really, which has been amazing.
It's going to be good for you guys, just in general. I'm guessing from a hobby standpoint as well, because you're probably going to be able to get back to gaming and things like that.
Oh, that would be nice, yeah. To be honest, it's been a bit hectic actually the last few weeks. I've had some other things going on. But yeah, certainly in the coming weeks and months. I mean, so 40k was the game that got me back into wargaming a few years ago, and I just playing something, even trying to play something like that with the spare time that I had was just impossible, really. If it wasn't a game that I could play in sort of 90 minutes, it's just been of no use to me the last year or so.
Yeah, I 8th edition sped it up a bit, but not really 90 minutes kind of sped up.
Oh, God, no. not when you factor in, picking an army list and packing all your stuff away as well and things. It just didn't happen. So yeah, I'm going to dust off some of the 40k models, I think, in a few weeks and have a go at that again soon, hopefully.
It's something that people, I mean, it is a hobby, and I suffer from it quite a lot because I get very tunnel vision, which I'm guessing from the way I was speaking to yourself and stuff, you do as well at times.
Oh yeah.
But if I'm working on either editing a video or I'm working on painting project or something, I can be sat for hours and hours and hours, and my missus will suddenly come in and go, you realise it's like 1 a.m. You haven't spoke to me for 10 hours.
No, there's plenty of those. To be honest, I mean, the worst ones, I'd be working till sort of 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
I was up at 6 o'clock again the next day for my actual day job. So it just wasn't practical.
No. And I mean, that's where what you were saying probably about how you were starting, your other job was starting to suffer, or your main job.
It would have done if we'd carried on.
Of course, yeah.
Really, but it would have done if we'd carried on any further.
I mean, at this stage, I guess it leads us on to the announcement that you made today, and what you can actually talk about with regards to that. So I did announce it in a little intro at the start, which is that War Cradle have they actually bought Red Beam Designs?
They have indeed, yes.
So do they plan to keep it as Red Beam Designs, or do they plan to integrate it into what they're currently doing?
I think, and this is just think, I honestly don't know, I think they intend to keep it as Red Beam Designs, but that would be down to them, and I couldn't say. There's no part of the deal that says they have to.
Yes.
Say that much. They've said they would like to, so it's kind of up to them on that one, really.
That's cool. I mean, the one thing I would say is if anybody from them do watch this video, I would suggest they keep the name.
Right.
Because if you type Red Beam Designs into Google or into YouTube, you bring up a lot of very, very positive reviews.
Very true, yes.
Yeah, I mean, whatever they paid you for the designs and stuff, which your designs are fantastic and they're very innovative, and that's something that I've discussed in previous videos. One of the things I did love about your company was that it was always innovative. It wasn't just, here's some more tokens. Like the dashboards, you, to my knowledge anyway, were the first people doing anything of a similar nature.
Yeah, I think so. Certainly of the slightly more controversial dashboard.
Absolutely.
Certainly the first on that one by quite some way.
And things like the X-Wing ones, I love the design of the X-Wing ones, the way they clip together, and you can sort of customise that.
You know what, so I made that after, so I played X-Wing a little bit a few years ago when it first came out.
Yeah.
I didn't take off with it, and I came back to it again about October time last year, I think, because I wanted something I could play a little bit quicker and easier. And the first thing I did was I had my shit laid out and all my upgrade cards all over, and I'm not a good gamer, I'm a very casual gamer.
Yeah.
And I just made a complete mess of all of it. I never remember what anything does, so I thought, right, I'm going to come up with this idea, this modular dashboard thing to do it. Came up with it, tested it all, blah blah blah. I've never used it since. I've never gone back and played X-Wing again since. So aside from actually practically testing to see that it all worked, I've never actually used one of those X-Wing ones, unfortunately. But that will be coming up very soon because I will have more spare time.
Absolutely. I was actually just about to ask, was that due to spare time issues or the game itself?
Yeah, no, that was totally down to spare time issues, really. And what I found a lot of the time with Red Beam is that I've not got, even when I've had spare time to game, I've not necessarily always played the games that I wanted to play. At points it's been playing games that I've kind of felt I had to play because it was good for Red Beam, basically.
Yes, we have obviously here we have a similar issue on our channel, where we're known for certain games, and we want to play other games, and most of the messages we get are saying, "Why aren't you playing those other games?"
Yeah.
So I can completely get what you're saying with that one. So, with regards to War Cradle now, I mean we've already discussed it via messaging, so I have an inkling of kind of what they've got and stuff from you, but would you just sort of in your own words tell you exactly what you're allowed to say anyway with regards to the deal itself?
So, War Cradle bought everything. They've bought all our designs, they've bought our equipment, and they've bought the business. So, obviously at the moment it's still ours. there isn't an exact date set in stone yet as to when it's all handed over to them, but it will be within the next couple of weeks. And then at that point, it's very much over to Warcradle as to how they go about starting to produce our designs. I have offered to help them out with that a little bit, so I will be working with them a little bit initially just to help them get up and running, basically. And then it's over to them with everything. They will own, if there's a product on our website, they will own the rights to it, and they will be able to make it if they so choose to do so.
Brilliant, because I know that's something I've seen a lot of people questioning, was whether it was just the buildings, whether it was just certain tokens, whether it was just schematics, but as you've just said, it's everything. It's all encompassing.
It is, but I can't guarantee they'll make everything. I genuinely don't think they probably know themselves right now exactly what they'll make, because they haven't actually seen all our design files yet. They know what we've got because they've seen the website, but we haven't worked with each other on any of that sort of thing yet, really. So I'm sure they've got some ideas of some of the first things that they'll be making, but if they started today and wanted to start making everything, it would take them quite a number of weeks just to get up to speed with it all, I would imagine, really.
So I'm guessing you've got a load of stuff that hadn't hit the website yet, that was idea stages and things like that they've all just now inherited.
There's a lot of prototypes and things, but no, not as much as you'd expect on that one, really. I did usually try and be pretty good, and if I started an idea, then I tried very, very hard to see it through to completion, really. The only difference, that being, I've done a couple of designs in the last few weeks which never made it to the website. I've done a storage box for the Batman game, which you might have seen.
I absolutely loved that box for the Batman game. I did indeed.
Of that, so that obviously never made it to the website, so that's not currently part of the deal, but that may or may not change in the future. That'll be up to ourselves and Warcradle, obviously. And then I think, I know you've seen the buildings I was working on at the weekend, but they were very much just an idea that came to me on Saturday morning, and I got a bit told off from Kirsty for using up some of my spare time working on those, basically.
Yeah, I mean, to give them, again, it's something we've already discussed, but yes. I mean, that design is so clever and so innovative. Like, I can't believe nobody at any point has come up with it. I mean, I've got behind, like, a little storage area under our stairs that is just stacking boxes and shelves full of scenery. And it's a nightmare. It takes up so much room for the different systems we play and things like that.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it?
It is, and you, like you say, you designed previous ones that were they flat packed back down, didn't they?
Yeah.
But it meant that you couldn't have a lot of, like, the balconies or, like, window type designs and things like that. Or to have them sort of as dynamic as you'd like.
So for anyone who isn't aware of what we're talking about there, I came up with this idea on Saturday morning of stacking buildings within buildings in a sort of Russian dolls style. So that's what I've been playing around with the last few days. Is I've sort of started with one quite tall. You can see it now, sort of 4 or 5 story tall building, and then every other building that will make up a full table's worth gets progressively smaller and fits inside each other, basically.
Genius. And as you well know, at the moment, 4 and 5 story buildings are definitely appealing to me.
Indeed, yes, that's something that you and I can definitely take a look at further down the line, I think.
Absolutely, because I mean, you and I, we have quite. I mean, I know obviously we're both into wargaming, as most of the people who watch my channel are, I would assume.
Yeah.
I've got a few family members who watch just because I send them a link and kind of threatening emoji them. But other than that, the people who watch and the people who comment are wargaming fans. But we have a lot of other interests that are quite similar, in terms of, such as Batman in 2000 AD and stuff like that, and like computer gaming and other types of things. So, with regards to yourself, obviously you said you have the option, is it, to work with Warcradle?
Yeah, it's something that we've talked about. That obviously, I'd still like to keep my hand in and do some designing going forward. And Warcradle have expressed an interest in possibly working with me on some designs further down the line, but it's not part of the deal at the moment. There's nothing written down about that anywhere. It's just an option that's available to me if I want it in the future.
So as part of that, they haven't bought you, as it were.
No.
You're not like working as part of them or anything like that. It's purely if you come up with a design, you might give them first refusal at it.
Yeah,
or...
I think that's brilliant. But yeah, that's exactly what the situation is really.
That's cool. I mean, I would honestly hate to see like you not come up with anything anymore. And like you said, you'll maybe just come up with stuff for yourself, but you'll still at least keep your hand in.
Yeah.
But I mean, it would be nice, and I will be following what Wargrade will do, to suddenly see new designs, even if it's just sporadically popping up. I certainly will still be covering them here and things like that. And from your point of view, you've got much more time now. So you're going to come up with ideas.
Well, I mean, I think the Russian dolls building one just typifies that, to be honest. I literally woke up Saturday morning, had this idea pop into my head, spoke something on Facebook just to see what people thought, what if was I onto something with it or not, and then thought, oh, sorry, I'm just going to go with it, let's do it.
But no, I mean, that's one of the good things, I suppose, about Facebook and things like that now and social media, that you can wake up in the early hours of the morning or whatever, go, I've had this idea, and instantly you'll get feedback on whether that's a worthwhile idea.
Yeah, no, that was exactly what happened in this case, definitely.
But no, as always, it's it's brilliant chatting with you. I've monopolised you for around about half an hour now, so I'm not going to keep you much longer. Because like you said, you've got all this spare time on your hands now. You don't want to be having it taken away.
No, it's absolutely fine, Kev, honestly.
So obviously 40k next. Getting.
Well, I'm going to give Wild West Exodus a go as well, because I've heard that's a very good game, and Stuart from Warcradle's promised to give me a demo of it personally in the next few weeks, so definitely going to have a go at that as well. That's
probably, we've just got the starter set, and we're kind of. This is this year for our channel. I'm trying, and that's why there hasn't been as many battle reports, is because I want to move away from using anything unpainted.
Yes.
In our first year, it was kind of just show what we can do, because our channel's not really about the models and stuff. I think it's about how we mess around with each other. So we kind of want for this second year to not have anything unpainted on the table. So we've had this Wild West Exodus starter set sat there since December, I think.
Right.
And kind of it's on the list of stuff to do. So it's definitely going to be one that we're covering this year. So we'll have to actually get you to come and teach us.
Well, I'm getting taught by the main man in a couple of weeks. So,
Absolutely.
Might be able to do that.
And you've got spare time now.
Exactly.
If only a little bit extra, you have some.
Oh, no, I've definitely got a lot extra now. It's I literally don't know what to do with myself most evenings at the moment. I haven't felt the urge to pick up a paintbrush though, which has really annoyed me. I finally had time to paint, and I just can't get motivated to do that right now, which is annoying.
Painting's probably my favourite part of the hobby. I think it's the only part of the hobby I never get tired of. I think I'm very rare in that respect. All my friends and stuff, when I talk to them, they do not share my opinions on painting models.
I'm with you on it. It's painting first for me, really, and the gaming side second, really. But just at the moment, I just can't get motivation. But I'm hoping that will return soon.
I mean, you're probably very burnt out in terms of the creative side of the hobby.
Yeah.
From a year and a half of non-stop creating stuff.
Yeah, and that's just possibly told my voice as well. I've been a little bit ill recently. I'm just actually getting over about pneumonia at the moment, which has not been fun for the last few weeks. So,
I can imagine.
A little bit, to be honest, and still leaving a bit of a tickle in my throat at the moment. But yeah, no, painting's one I'm definitely hoping I'll get back to doing a lot more very soon with good luck.
I mean, very, very occasionally we did see you, obviously, on the Red Beam and a couple of the other groups. You'd be, look, I'm finally doing a bit of painting today. And some Batman models usually would appear with a bit of paint and stuff on them. So it'll be interesting to see what's going forward.
Yeah, it's a few Batman models on the table at the moment. I'm just looking over there, but they're all black. They're all just undercoated. There's not much else going on with them. No, to be honest, actually, my painting over the next few weeks will probably be these buildings within buildings things. I'm quite enjoying doing those at the moment.
I was really surprised, actually, because obviously you posted the idea in the morning, and I'm pretty sure by the evening you had at least a semi-painted up, like one or two buildings already going.
One done by Saturday evening, semi-painted, and then I did the second one yesterday afternoon. Pretty much basically just when Kirsty wasn't looking, because I wasn't supposed to be anyone needed laser cutters because she needed them, and I wasn't supposed to be doing any designing because I promised not to.
Yes.
That didn't happen. So yeah, I now have two buildings and I have a third one ready to cut, but I really cannot get anywhere near a laser cutter right now. I'm well and truly banned from them at the moment.
I'm assuming you've got some pretty hefty orders to get out still at this stage as well.
We're very nearly done actually. We're hoping, so it's our daughter's birthday on Thursday, so that was always the cut-off date. We wanted to be done before then, basically. So the last orders should go out on either Wednesday or Thursday, I think. There's not too many left now.
Oh, I mean, obviously from one stance that's a bit sad, but on the other hand, that's brilliant news. I do remember, obviously that was one of the things you'd initially said, you wanted it all wrapped up before your daughter's birthday, so
yeah.
If you're on schedule for that, that's fantastic.
Only just, but yeah.
Yeah.
I say we, I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't cut or packed an order in about 6 months minimum, so that's really not a side of the business that I got particularly involved in. But
yeah.
Steve's out in the workshop frantically right now, cutting more orders, and we'll be going at it all night tonight on that one, I think, and then yeah, she should be done in the next couple of days, hopefully.
And then it's off to join the real world for her again, I assume.
Yeah, we're still not really even sure what that's going to involve for her, to be honest. Obviously, it's Easter holidays coming up for a couple of weeks, so she's going to do a couple of weeks of looking after our daughter, and then she's going to have to find herself another job.
Well, I definitely wish her luck on that one, especially at the moment.
So do I. There's nothing lined up at the moment on that one, so really can't even vaguely say what that's going to look like. But we don't really mind really, as long as it's something that we can fit around sort of picking up and collecting our daughter. It's good to go really.
See? So you're definitely not disappearing though, are you? You're going to be around online painting, some gaming-y stuff.
I was never exactly a prolific Facebooker before Red Bin came along, so much to the amusement of a lot of my friends, I have really hauled myself out on Facebook the last year and a bit, just to get the business promoted and things. But I've actually quite enjoyed it, so no, I'm not going to go back to being a Facebook recluse like I was. I will still be quite active and posting in a few different groups, I think.
I went from, obviously, as we've mentioned before, I used to be a pro wrestler, so Facebook I had to use all the time, and I absolutely hated it. And then when I retired, I kind of almost came off Facebook, other than chatting to very close friends and family. Right. And I was of a similar ilk. Like, I hate Facebook. I'm not really a big fan of it. And through doing the YouTube channel and having to really promote it through Facebook, I've realised just how many really cool people there are, like Andy from, I can't even remember his channel now, Blackjack Legacy and things like that.
Doing a live stream in half an hour, I might have to tell him on that one.
Yeah. He always does them. Me and my partner, we have a thing where we sit down and we watch The Walking Dead together at 9 o'clock. She gets in from work pretty much 2 minutes before it starts. And it's kind of our Monday night ritual. And no matter what I do, Andy won't change the date of his live stream just for me. He's so selfish.
It's not on, is it? I'll have a word with him for you.
You have to. Tell him. I tend to watch it a couple of hours later, but it's not the same.
No, I've popped up on a couple of them. They're good fun.
They are. I was in on the first one, the Kickstarter one, which I thought was a very good one. I massively hit and miss on Kickstarters, so it was nice to hear other people's opinions, some of which were similar and some were obviously quite the opposite of mine.
I've only ever really done the one. I did Sedition Wars quite a few years ago, and by the time it eventually turned up and it was just a big pile of shite, I've never come back, basically. I'm sure all Kickstarters are the same, but Sedition Wars was just rubbish.
I've done a couple with mixed results. I did the Walking Dead one by Mantic, which actually went really well. And I did Tombstone by Black Scorpion Miniatures that went really, really well.
Yeah, vaguely aware of that one.
Yeah, and then I've had some really, really bad experiences, which I won't name most names, but I think the one I'm okay to name is the Hawk War Games Drop Fleet. that went so horribly wrong. But luckily TTCombat kind of, when they stepped in, they did really sort that out, which was good. And obviously that's something Warcradle are doing with Dystopian Wars as well, aren't they?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
which is a really cool thing. There's one thing I was actually going to touch on. It was something I sort of want to end on, because obviously Warcradle are owned by Wayland Games, is that correct? Or are they the same? I'm never quite sure.
I think that they're the same company. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
My understanding is that they're the same company, but I could be slightly wrong on that. One might own the other. I don't honestly know 100%.
That's cool, because Wayland, they previously obviously had quite a bad reputation, and have really turned things around sort of in the past couple of years, in terms of things like shipping and in terms of sort of product handling and stuff like that. When you actually were looking into the sale of it, did any of that kind of come to your mind at all? I mean, the only reason I bring it up is because obviously I've seen other people mentioning it in the announcement, like, oh, I'm a bit sad that it's Wayland that's got it.
I'll be honest, I've never bought from them.
Yeah.
So I can't. If I had an experience that I could comment on, I would. I've never personally bought from them, so it didn't particularly factor into my thinking really. What did was what they've done with Wild West Exodus. Really, I was very aware of that. I've got some friends who are quite involved in that game. Who couldn't speak highly enough of Warcradle and what they've done for Wild West Exodus. I'd seen Stuart from Warcradle on a couple of YouTube videos as well, and he seemed like a very passionate guy.
Yeah.
To be honest, I just like what he said when he spoke to me on the phone. They got in touch with us very quickly. They made us a reasonable offer. And I liked his plans for it, and I liked the fact that he said he wanted to keep the name Red Beam Designs going as well, which obviously, as I said earlier, they may or may not do. That's out of my hands, but it was just nice to hear things like that. So no, yes, I have heard of issues with Wayland Games. I would be lying if I said otherwise.
Yep.
But I've never personally ordered from them, so I couldn't and wouldn't comment particularly on that one.
I mean, from a personal standpoint, I've never had a bad issue with them. I got like my Necromunda through them and things like that when it was re-released. It came a day early. I was ecstatic with that, to be able to get it before general release and things like that. So I've never ever had an issue with them. But because I'd seen many others had obviously commented on it, and you have to have lived under a rock to not have heard. But I mean, I look at it in the same way I would look at, say, Tesco, which is where my partner works. Tesco probably get X amount of complaints compared to, say, my local corner shop. So if you work it out complaint per person, they're probably about the same. And Wayland are the biggest, to my knowledge anyway, they're the biggest retailer of wargaming in Europe.
I believe so, yes.
So, I mean, if you put that into the context compared to your local game store, they're probably about the same.
Exactly. That would certainly be my thinking with it as well. That, they're huge, so they're going to get complaints. We get complaints. We're tiny.
Yeah.
We try very hard not to get complaints, but it's part and parcel of it. You can't completely avoid it, unfortunately.
I've recently done an interview with the guys who own Lucid Eye Publications, who do the Savage Core game and a few of the other games. And we were talking about, because their quality on their models is very, very good. And they were saying they're kind of at that level now where their company are making enough that they've still got really good product quality control over everything. But obviously as it grows, they might potentially have to hire more people. And then once you hire more people, you're not doing it yourself, so then there's human error and things like that. And so Wayland are a massive, massive company. And every cog's got a turn, and you can't keep an eye on every cog all the time. So that's how I kind of look at it anyway.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm sure I will order from Wayland going forward. To be honest, the only reason I don't tend to order from, I don't order a ton of wargaming stuff off the internet. I do tend to use my local shop in York quite a lot, really. So if I want a product and they don't stock it, they're pretty good at getting it in for me, really. So that's why I've not used Wayland, really. It's nothing against them at all.
It's cool. Do you want to give them a plug? Which store is that?
Oh, that would be Travelling Man
Nice. I use Travelling Man in Newcastle quite a lot, and they are fantastic.
Yeah, very well with guys there. So I'm also part of the committee that runs York Garrison Wargaming Club, so I'm kind of our sort of club liaison with the shop as well, basically. So I do have a pretty good relationship with them.
I found Travelling Man are always really, really good. It's pretty sad because a lot of the stores around here are closing, the local gaming stores. So it's really good that there are, like, they're not a big company, Travelling Man, really. And they are and they aren't. They've got, was it 3 or 4 stores in the UK? York, Leeds and Newcastle, I think.
Yeah, is it Manchester as well, I think, maybe?
There might be, but in terms of it, they're big for maybe sort of that type of thing, but they're not like a Forbidden Planet or something like that.
No.
But the atmosphere in them is usually much better. I find it feels like a smaller store than it actually is, in terms of the friendly factor of it.
Yeah, no, they're a good little company, and yeah, I try and give them my business where I can, really. So, I do obviously buy from online shops at times. I'm not saying I never do, but that is plain and simply the reason why I've never ordered from Wayland. It's nothing to do with it, and I've never heard about them. It's that I get my stuff from Travelling Man in Europe.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely cool. As I said, I wanted to cover it because it was something that was getting brought up a lot. And I think people would have thought that I'd like pussied out of asking it otherwise.
No, that's understandable.
Or that I'd mentioned it before we started the interview and you'd said don't mention it. So I just, because you'd said talk about anything, I thought we'll address it.
Absolutely. I mean, I guess what people need to appreciate there is I don't work for War Cradle or Wayland, and I never have done. So all I can comment on is my interactions with them, really.
Absolutely. And to be fair, I can't imagine that you going, oh, I did or didn't take it into account, wouldn't affect them buying your designs anyway, because the designs are so good.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, it's a done deal at this point anyway now. The contracts are signed, so it's just a question of us working towards handing things over to them now, basically.
Fantastic. And I know they announced it's June, isn't it? They've said that your products are coming to their store.
Yes.
Was what they put in the official post anyway.
You know as much as me on that one. They haven't told me any more than that comment on that post.
Yeah. That was exactly what I was going to ask, whether you were in the same boat as us or whether you'd been given any sort of more definitive.
If they'd have said any earlier than that, I'd have been quite impressed with how brave they were, let's put it that way, because so the way we work with virtually every single order is we cut to order, basically.
Yes.
Someone places an order comes in, we go out there and cut it. I would imagine, and this is just me guessing, that Wayland will not work in the same way, and that they will build up stock of products because they're a much bigger company and that's the way they're likely to work.
Of course, yeah.
So that's going to take them some time to do, basically.
I can imagine. So, I mean, I've worked with TTCombat quite a lot. Obviously, we cover them quite a lot on our channel. And they work in a similar ilk with most things, where they have like bulk stock of stuff. And I remember seeing the processes when they were getting towards the Rumbleslam stuff coming out.
Oh yeah.
And sort of, I mean, just from following on with the Kickstarters and stuff like that, they were putting out photo of like weeks and weeks of mass producing models, and MDF rings and stuff like that. So I assume that's going to be the next 3 months or so for Wayland, just churning out MDF and making sure the quality and stuff's up to the standard that you guys have kind of set with everything.
That would be my assumption, but as I say, it is an assumption.
Of course, yeah.
What to them about, but they might do it completely opposite. They might cut everything to order, but it just doesn't seem likely to me that a company of that sort of size will operate like that, really.
It does seem like it would be very unusual unless they hired a specific team for that.
Exactly.
Which they might, yeah, absolutely.
Exactly, yeah, that's a fair point. They might.
Yeah.
I basically know. It's not up to me how they run the business going forward, basically. So I don't know what their plans are. I suspect in a few weeks I might know a little bit more. But right now, we've only just signed the contract very, very recently, and we're, when I talk to them, which I do talk to them regularly, It's not me interrogating them about what they're going to be doing. It's all, you know, them asking me questions and me trying to provide them with answers, basically.
Of course, yeah. As far as this stage, now that contracts are signed and stuff, I suppose there is that slightness of it's still your baby, but at the same time, you've got to let it go.
Absolutely,
as it
it's
were.
very surreal to be honest. That announcement going out today really did hit home. You know, I was kind of thinking, oh yeah, this isn't mine anymore now. And yeah, it was quite bizarre to read it really.
I have to admit, up until I read that, I did think that there was always going to be the chance that 6 months later you were going to pop back up again. And I suppose there was probably that in your head at some, even if it was just a small way down the line. You thought there's always a chance up until obviously deals were struck and things like that.
Well, my initial thought and the initial statement that I put out was very much that we'd keep hold of one of the laser cutters, basically, so that I could just dabble with things.
Of course, I remember you saying that.
But at the end of the day, they still, you know, there's a monetary value attached to those, and it was quite a lot of money for it to just sit around and be a toy for me, really. So it had to go.
Absolutely. Like we were mentioning at the start, it's what's best for you and your family, really, at this stage.
Yeah, well, there was, you know, I'll be perfectly honest as well and say, you know, Kirsty did express some reservations about my ability to, you know, get on with other things and not be tempted to go out and laser cut all the time, basically, which proved quite true given how well I behaved over the weekend with that one, really.
Absolutely, yeah. I think if there was any sort of discussion before that, I think you kind of shot yourself in the foot over the weekend.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So I'll miss not having a laser. I'll miss the laser cutters a lot, but yeah, I think realistically for my mental well-being, it's probably not the worst thing in the world that there won't be one sat right next to me that I can just go and play with whenever I want.
Absolutely, and it's definitely going to keep you married longer, I would assume.
Yeah, well, I'd certainly like to hope so. I think we're coming up on 11 years now, and the last 2 have been probably the most challenging of that whole period, really. So. Fingers crossed that things will improve there. They certainly are doing so far.
Perfect. Well, I'll just get one last question, obviously, before I let you get off, because we're coming close to an hour now, and obviously, as you know, nearly Walking Dead time. My missus is going to walk home any minute. And you've got a live stream to get to, and obviously voice my opinion that they should change the whole time just for me. What 40k army is it that you're going to be playing?
Or I've got a pretty large, but only about half painted Tyranid army, so depends whether or not I actually want to do some painting or not. Really, I haven't decided which one of the two will be getting out of the cupboard anytime soon.
Well, the new Necron book obviously is out.
Well, yeah, there is that. The Necrons haven't actually been out of the cupboard in about 4 years, I don't think, so they may see the light of day. I dabbled a bit. I had a couple when 8th edition came out. I did have a couple of games of Tyranids, so don't know, Tyranids or Necrons, one of the two.
That's cool. Well, as I said before, we definitely will have to get a game sorted at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
We go down to York quite a bit because I went to university in Bradford, and we used to travel up to York just because at the time it was one of the better places to go for a day out. So I like to go to York as often as possible. It's beautiful. My boys love it because there's castles everywhere. But no, so next time we're sort of down that way for gaming purposes, I'll have to let you know.
Yeah, please do. That would be fantastic. I'd love to meet over there for a game.
But no, I shall let you go. It's been a genuine pleasure chatting with you. Obviously, I wish you all the best. Not that I made that sound like we're never going to speak again. I just mean in terms of now Red Beam's no longer a stress for you.
Yeah. Well, it's about 2 more days of it yet, but then it's not a stress, hopefully.
That's what I like to hear. And obviously your daughter's going to enjoy her birthday.
Yeah, fingers crossed. She's at school on her birthday, so we're going to have a little party in the evening, I think, when she gets home.
That's cool. Well, thank you very much for your time tonight, Graham.
Thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure, and apologies for the croaky voice and if I've been coughing too much. It's a bit unfortunate, that one.
Oh no, it's absolutely fine. I've been sort of stopping myself coughing with a bottle of water, so I can't really say anything.
Fair enough.
You have a great night, mate. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Take care. Bye. So yeah, I'm just going to very, very quickly wrap it up. Obviously, thank you guys for putting up with Graham and I chatting for nearly an hour. as you can see there, and I've said it before on videos, that he's a genuinely really nice guy. And I think that came across in the interview perfectly. He's very honest and open, gave us as much information as he had or could. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it with that, guys. Whatever your opinions previously on Wayland or anything like that, just remember that these designs are the Red Beam designs still. Give them a try. I know a lot of people jumping in on Wild West Exodus, and rightly so. And if you're in York and you're in the local area, or you game in York and you don't already know, obviously hit them up in the local Travelling Man, where there'll be posters and stuff on York Garrison, and get down there and do some gaming. Maybe you'll see Graham and his Necron/Tyranids. Oh my god, don't team those two up. Yeah, it's like the Blood Angel Necron thing all over again. But no, guys, thank you very much for watching. Obviously, big shout out to Graham for doing that. Big shout out to Red Beam Designs, and obviously, hopefully, wonderful things from Warcradle moving forward. Pray the dice gods hope they smile upon you, and take care, guys. Thank you very much for your time.